Anne, how did you find carnivore?
Well, my entire life, as far back as all I can remember, is always being overweight. Had a lot of physical uh, struggles and gone through many different weight loss experiences. But in 2020, I had been diagnosed with lipedema and lymphedema, both. Have always had large legs. Even when I lost weight, a lot of weight, my legs remained large and my arms, and everything else would shrink. And so I was at this time heavy and getting ready for lipedema surgery, which they'll go in there and they'll remove those nodules that are under the skin. And it's liposuction basically, but it's instead of just removing regular fat, they're removing this nodule fat that is grows and multiplies in your body. And so I was getting ready for the surgery, so I wanted to lose weight, just regular fat that you can lose. Lipedema fat you can't lose, not easily anyway, not standard way of weight loss. And so I was doing keto. And this was in August of 2020 doing keto, and I ran across Dr. Ken Berry. I ran across Kelly Hogan and a few other Laura Spath, just different people that I ran through watching YouTube. Um, a lot of things that I had done in the past, I learned on YouTube. And I thought, I'm already keto. I'm going to, I'm going to knock out all the veggies, I'm going to I want to do this thing. And so August of 2020 till January, I was leaving to go to another state for these surgeries. And I lost 50 pounds doing carnivore. And I did strict, I was, dead on it. I wasn't going to waver. I even quit drinking coffee, which I drink coffee. I really like coffee. And I was able to let go of sugar. I was able to let go of bread. I used to be a baker. I was able to let go of bread, but coffee was really hard, and I did. I let it go, and I lost 50 pounds up to January, from August to January, and I was doing really well. And January to March, I was gone for 8 weeks. Um, I went to have 4 surgeries of removal of lipedema nodules. And during that time, they basically removed about 11 pounds of lipedema nodules out of my body, which is a lot. Um, but I stayed on my carnivore diet. I was living in a hotel and I had not In-N-Out burger, Red Robin burgers, patties. I ate anything that I could find with zero carb and that was meat. Boiled eggs you can buy in a bag. I had a little refrigerator in my room, and I just stuck on it all the way through. Did really well, continued to drop and lose weight, and I was feeling good. I mean, my mind was clear. Kind of always had an issue with attention. Um, you know, uh, if you were to see inside this room, you'd see several different sections, leaning in several different directions of art and creativity. And my mind just kind of goes in that way. Well, while on carnivore, I've just learned I could focus much better on one thing. And so I did really well up till May of 2021, which was, just months after my surgery. I had gotten down about 95 pounds total weight loss, which left me about 30 probably pounds left to lose. But I little by little, it was like I'm going to challenge myself, and I took this little part-time job, which I hadn't worked a part-time job in a long time because I had mobility issues and I had just real physical issues, balance issues. And I had just took this one little, like, my husband and I had gone to this restaurant to eat, and they were looking for someone to clean tables, just during their busy hours. And I'm like, I could do this, And well, that was kind of an open door for temptation to me because it was an Italian restaurant. Um, Everything around me was food. I don't know what the heck I was thinking. I did great. I did great up until about 9:30. So I was there about 3 hours cleaning tables during their busy time. I made some cash, tips, and it was kind of fun. It was like a challenge for me. It wasn't anything I would, normally choose to do, but I just wanted to do something I wouldn't normally do, and I did it. But then I was faced with, here, have something to eat. And I wasn't even hungry. I just thought, oh, I'm just gonna, just, just this once, I'm gonna step off. And I hadn't really stepped off since August prior. I mean, I had been pretty sturdy and doing great. And it was just kind of a step to a slippery slope for me. I didn't stay consistent. I went on and off for up till really for a couple of years. I mean, I kept my weight off that I lost, except for about 30 pounds, which when you think about, like, my highest weight was 400 pounds. So, and that was many years ago. Um, I had gotten down to like 300 pounds when I was, boy, I can't believe I'm saying this. I had gotten down to like 300 pounds and then even down to 185 pounds at a different time in my life, you know. But when I was doing carnivore, when I started carnivore, I started at about 310. And so I had gotten down to right close to 200 pounds, actually, but 205 pounds. And I'm thinking weight, but I'm also 6 feet tall. So I've always been tall and big, and it was always very difficult for me. I mean, I always felt out of place, and I never felt like I really fit in physically. But anyway, in saying all that, I'm got through this really tough time. I was doing great. I was just a little bit of weight from my goal compared to what I had lost, and I just started letting it go. And little by little, and kept my weight off pretty much, except for I gained back about 25 to 30 pounds. And that's kind of where I've hovered for the past 5 years. Not 5 years. We 21, so we're 25, 4 years. And I've just finally, it started itching up a little bit more, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I cannot keep getting on and off the boat. And August 3rd of this year, um, and it's been since then that I found your podcast or your show on YouTube, along with getting back on track with some of my other people, and then finding the homestead, and just or what, healing humanity, and so many other people that I went back to follow up on that I had kind of, I don't want to say walked away, but I just hadn't been listening on a regular basis. Um, Now I constantly back myself up with other people's encouragement. That's why I really like your program, because that's what it is. It's you're listening to other people face some of the same things you faced for whatever reason, and they're overcoming, and I kind of, that's how I feel like I'm overcoming. I'm 89 days in, and my focus is on fire. Um, I can read, like I can sit down and read. And that's the first thing I do in the morning is I sit down, I read, and I write. I spend time in the Word of God, and it opens up my day, But I can understand, I could turn around and tell you what I read when I'm done reading it. And that's a big deal. If you don't have focus and you need focus and you can do that, that's a big deal. About a year and a half ago, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And I am looking forward to getting my next MRI because I'm just believing that some of the lesions that they found on my brain are going to be gone. Or, like I've heard testimony after testimony of people who have had autoimmune diseases or MS or different things that are physically really debilitating, and they're getting their health back. They're recovering, or they're getting a percentage, or whatever. I'm expecting something because I feel good, and I feel like I can do more today than I could 90 days ago. Um,
Wow. Um, so what led to the MS diagnosis?
my husband and I, along with some other family members, were on a vacation. We were on our way to New York to get on a cruise ship. And I wear compression because my legs swell because of the lymphedema. And I always wear compression. And I got off the plane in New York, and something didn't feel right. Like something wasn't right in my legs, and I couldn't tell you what it was at the time. I was just couldn't figure it out. And I kept going to the restroom, and I came back and talked to my sister. I'm like, I'm not really sure what it is, but there's something wrong. It's like I can't tell you what it is. And so we get to the hotel. We stayed the night in a hotel before we get in the cruise ship. And it was an 11-day cruise. It wasn't, a 2 or 3 day. It was an 11-day cruise. And we get to the hotel. I'm still feeling really uncomfortable. I take my compression off thinking maybe it's got to do with that. Maybe it has to do with my compression. And it didn't seem to make any difference at all. And in the middle of the night, I could tell, I could just feel. I'm like, well, I'm going to put my compression back on. Maybe that's will help me or whatever. So the weirdest thing, I was sitting on the edge of the bed and I was rubbing my feet together, just kind of like this, but I didn't feel them. And that was when I realized what was going on. I literally didn't feel my feet or my legs or my skin. I couldn't feel anything all the way up to my waist. And I mean, I could move. I mean, that wasn't my mobility in that way. I mean, my balance was off and had been off for a long time, but my ability to walk was never, you know, I mean, as far as feeling my legs, I could walk, but I couldn't feel my legs at this time. And I was just telling my husband, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I didn't feel like pain or anything. I just didn't feel anything. And I thought, well, this is probably just going to go away. It's from sitting on the plane for a couple hours and waiting in the airport. And so we go and we get on the cruise ship and we go on our 11-day vacation. And I started getting more numbness in my body. And there was this um, feeling of like I was wearing a corset around my rib cage that started, and it was started slow, and then it progressed, and it wasn't like heart attack. Well, I've never had a heart attack, so I don't believe I ever will have one, but um, this crushing kind of hugging feeling. And I say the word hugging lightly now because later I heard that's called the MS hug. But it is an experience that a lot of people who have MS may experience at different times, but then it goes away after a period of time. Well, mine stayed just about the entire trip, but I still did everything I wanted to do. And I was just a little more cautious and knowing, I'm going to be okay. And my sister kept saying, you should go see the doctor. I'm like, no, I'm not going home. I'm not going home. I'm on this cruise. We're going, we had a good time. I came home. I did have a good time on the cruise. My legs were still numb, my lower body, and I was still dealing with this hug feeling, this corset around me. And I made an appointment with my doctor. They sent me to get an MRI, and then they sent me to. She was showing me some things on my lower back on the MRI, and she goes, "Oh, you probably have a disc that's pushing against something." And she goes, "This is herniated here, and this is herniated there." And I wasn't really. I was kind of uncomfortable in my lower back, but I wasn't like in extreme pain. And I get to the neurosurgeon is actually where they sent me. And the neurosurgeon looked at me and looked at the MRI and then said, "You really need to go see a neurologist." And so what he saw and what she saw was two different things. He saw spinal, like what I said I had on my brain, and I can't think of the word, and that's
Lesions.
lesion on my spine up higher. And he said, "You need to go see a neurologist." He didn't tell me what he saw. He just said, "We'll make you an appointment. You'll get a phone call." They gave me a phone call. They gave me an appointment for 3 months away. And then I get another call like a day later saying, "Oh, we need you to come in tomorrow." And so actually, like I was thinking, oh, it must not be too bad if it's going to be 3 months down the road. But then they turned around and pulled me in the next day, and they gave me an MRI with so
Contrast.
yes, with contrast, and then it took about an hour and a half to get everything in that machine, and then do the contrast and everything. It was pretty long, but it didn't bother me. I was fine. And then I came back the next day, actually, or the next Monday or something like that, and saw the doctor again, and he said, we talked, and then he said, "It's unusual. It does happen, but for a woman of your age to be or a person of your age to be diagnosed this late in life, usually it happens around in their 20s, 30s, more often." And then we started talking about my history, my life, and balance issues, and other issues that I've had that I wouldn't never contributed to anything other than because I had weight issues. Everything I had, I contributed to weight, and there were some things that I had some serious issues with that would have, had I known, or maybe had further testing been done. I remember after I had my son, which was over 35 years ago, I had that same. I said I had pain in my chest, in my rib area. I didn't know what it was, and I remember going in, and it just wouldn't go away. And they did X-rays, and they said, "Well, you have really large lungs, but we don't see anything else. There's no pneumonia. There's no nothing there other than what's supposed to be there." And so there was no MRI or anything done, but that probably would have been the beginning of maybe some symptoms that might have directed the doctor to multiple sclerosis. I've had balance issues for a long time. Again, I contributed that to my height, to my weight, to my knees, issues with my joints, my knees and stuff like that. So, but getting to know my doctor a little bit of time, I'm very thankful because he's the kind of doctor that actually spends time with you and talks to you and listens to you. I'm so used to getting shoved in and shoved out, like you get 10 minutes, maybe tops at the very most with a doctor, and I've spent probably an hour and a half with him altogether in the 3 or 4 visits that I've had with him, since then. So that's a lot of time. And he's very thorough. So he was like, "We really don't have to diagnose you so much as you have to be aware of this." But and they gave me some medication. I take it every day. It's the only medication I take. I don't take any other medication. I have great blood work. My nurse practitioner, she's like, you could be 20 when she looks at my blood work. The last time I did my blood work was in May. I get it done in May every year. And everything looks great. And so that's always good. It's good. You know, I think that the majority of the time that I'm able to pretty much stay low carb, I'm zero carb now, but most of the time in the past few years, I was pretty much low carb, probably under 20 carbs in general. And every once in a while, I like Christmas and stuff like that, I kind of broke down and was not strong. I have a goal though this year. I'm moving through. And my family, they're very supportive. They've known my struggles, my health struggles, and they've watched me overcome before, and nobody has come against my choice, which is really good to have that kind of support, especially when you get together. We don't get together with family, that often because they're not close. But like Thanksgiving, we'll drive to Georgia and visit family, and we all get together. And if I say I'm just going to eat meat, nobody's going to be shoving cake in front of my face or anything. And that's also my birthday, so nobody's going to be force feeding me. I'm gonna have somebody make Kelly Hogan's cake, whatever that is. It's some, I forget the name of it, but it's supposed to
Right.
be Oopsie Cake is the name of it, I
Ah,
think.
yeah, yeah. Um, so in the last 89 days, when you've gone strict carnivore again, have you noticed any improvements in as far as things like your balance or anything like that?
Well, during that 89 days, I was working into the end of physical therapy. I started physical therapy in May. And because I asked, I needed a referral. I'm like, I want to work on this, on strengthening my lower body because it was just getting out of hand. I was using a cane and still felt uncomfortable. So I do feel more secure. Going through that therapy, I think, has helped me to strengthen my legs. The balance is here in my head. I mean, I feel it like I almost even why, like, so I'm wearing contacts because my glasses are such a strong prescription. It's like I see it because I see so wide or whatever. It just adds to my imbalance, and so I do better with contacts because I don't have that difference in the side of your glasses. And so I'm not positive, but to me I feel like my imbalance comes from more here than my legs. I don't know how to explain that, but that's how I feel. Um, and since I've been on strict on carnivore, um, I feel sturdier. I feel more capable. Um, there are sometimes I could step right up on a stoop, like while I'm walking, I can step right up, and then there's sometimes I stop, and I go, oh, I gotta, I have to think about this. But I feel like my days are more step up now than they are pausing. I have less pauses. I have more stability in here. I believe that has helped me a lot. Courage, like I feel more courageous or something. I don't know. Um, the one thing I do love about carnivore is that I don't have to choose. Like I don't have. I have cook for a family. I have a family here at home still, and my husband and I uh, brought our two grandchildren in when they were two and well, just about two, and the other one was three. So now they're 13 and 14. And so they don't want to do carnivore, although I have been working on them. giving them more protein, more meat. And they're like, but, and my husband isn't carnivore, so I still cook for them. I cook the meat. I let my husband cook the veggies. If they want, if you're going to have veggies, sometimes they'll just eat meat because that's what I'm cooking. If you want to add anything to it, you're on your own. And sometimes I'll fix something, but most of the time I just do the meat. And then, but what's easy for me is I'm not hungry. I don't have any cravings. I don't. In the morning, I mean, I could go a long time without getting hungry. Like, I mean, afternoon, 2, 3, 4 o'clock, and then I'm like, I better eat something. I drink a lot of water. I stay hydrated. I use real salt. I also take some ancestral like beef liver and organ vitamins that I get. They're dried, freeze dried. And I take those every day, and I think those really help me in case I'm not getting all of what I need. Um, I would like to still lose about 30 pounds. I've lost 23 pounds since August and August 3rd. And I would like to I'd like to get to where I'm supposed to be. I still do have lipedema and I still do have nodules and things that aren't going to go away unless I don't know, unless they find some cure for it. So I'm still going to have larger legs, not as big as they used to be, but they're still larger than normal. But I'm able to move, and I'm just so thankful. I'm so thankful that I'm able to move, and it's. I wish I could share it. I wish more people could grab a hold of it. Maybe it's not the answer for everybody, but it sure has been an answer for me. And you know, I did the juice thing. I mean, I struggled with weight all my life, and I'm like one day. I mean, I grew my own wheatgrass in our spare bedroom. I had a whole big old long rack of it, and I drank that nasty stuff every day. I had people that would come over and and get some from me because I was juicing it. I've probably had 5 different kind of the best juicers that you can get, and I went on that. I followed somebody for and did that 60-day juice and lost a ton of weight, but I still had big legs and I still had big arms and I still hurt. My legs hurt so bad. And I would have to wrap them with these bandages and I'd have, just to keep the swelling down. And did all that and I was still hungry. I still wanted to eat something. Now I've made my kids' birthday cakes. I made my daughter birthday cake. I don't have to have cake. I don't have to have sugar. I don't,
So
you know,
you don't have that emotional connection anymore?
no. I know. I believe it. And I've worked in food service. I used to love, I still enjoy. I don't really enjoy baking so much as I was, but it wasn't too long ago. I was doing some baking and I really enjoyed it. Um, but it doesn't bother me to be around the food like that my kids have ice cream. I used to love ice cream. I don't care if I ever have another ice cream again. Um, every once in a while, if I really just want something, I'll take some heavy whipping cream and whip it up. And really can only have a couple tablespoons of it, and it just gets to be too much because it's too rich. Um, but I did find out that I can't eat too much butter. I was not losing at all. I thought, well, I'll eat a stick of butter a day or a stick and a half of butter a day, and I just can't. I tried. I did it for 3 weeks, and I mean, I was gaining weight. I was gaining weight that I had already lost. And I'm like, this isn't working for me. So I brought it back, and now I put butter in my eggs. Um, I might, I can't think, steak. If when I'm cooking steak, I'll put butter on my steak. And I may even dip it in a little bit of, if I have some softened butter, but mostly I don't. Salt and beef. Um, I'll eat a hamburger patty, but I'm really kind of over hamburger ground beef. You know, like for some reason it's not working for me right now, the flavor of it. Um, I like steak and eggs and bacon, and that's about it.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Um, and over time, has anyone outside your family kind of commented, like, "How come you're always eating this way?" Or, "We never see you eating?"
Yeah, well, actually, my husband sometimes he'll say, "No, I know he's my family, but I remember him saying the other day because we were talking with some people from church, and he's like, all she's interested in is steak. You know, I can't get her to eat anything else. You know, like my husband loves lasagna and he loves uh, anything. He likes food, and he used to cook. So we've been married 20 years. He doesn't cook a lot here. Like in our 20 years, he's not a big cook, but he has made homemade lasagna from scratch, and those are kind of things that he loves. Food is not his love language, but when we go to a restaurant or something, he'll like he likes like all the kinds of different seafood. He likes um but he was saying the other day to somebody, oh, she doesn't want anything but meat. I can't get her to eat anything but meat. And so I'm trying to think. The other day we had a special thing going on at church, and it was like a volunteers banquet or something, and they had. So I stopped by and picked up a couple patties from a steak place over here, just the patties, and I brought it with me. Well, when I got there, they had shredded chicken and they had ground beef, and they had sour cream and cheese and everything you would put on a burrito or a taco or something. And I'm like, well, I probably could have just come without bringing anything. But when I came out with my plate, all I had is a little bit of shredded chicken and some sour cream because I really wasn't sure what was in that ground beef. And since I'm really not into ground beef right now anyway, I thought, well, I'll just try. And you know, I could hardly even eat the chicken. The chicken was not good to me. So I did eat the patties and they were okay, and I dipped them in sour cream. And the woman that was sitting in front of me, she said, I know I'm really careful what's in my food too. I really just have to be careful about what I'm eating. And I didn't really say anything at all about food. I mean, she probably noticed my plate was empty and that I brought my own food. But, um, so I haven't really, and I guess all the people that we socialize with right now are close enough to me to know that they've known me long enough and they've seen my struggles and they've seen what I do well on. So if I've known them for 5 years, they know that I do well on carnivore. So other than that, now one of my nieces, I might run into her. Well, I will run into her at Thanksgiving. She might say something, like, why are you doing that, Aunt Ann? But I don't know. I think she's just known me long enough. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know.
Mm.
I've
Uh,
recently traveled to visit family and ran into some other people that we were gathered together, and I nobody asked me anything. So I don't know.
um, so you mentioned before that the lipedema and lymphedema was very painful. At this point, since you had the surgery and you're back strict carnivore again, is it you may still have some, but is the pain gone?
Um, a majority of the pain is gone now. Like just as I'm pulling my arm up, pulling it back, I still feel nodules. And they can be tender. Um, just like if I bump my arm or something like that, um, I can feel it, much more than just a regular bump. Um, and I still bruise, especially in my legs. I bruise very easily. But everyday pain, walking, it doesn't hurt to walk. I don't have, so I wear copper on this hand and I wear it. I'm always twisting my thumb, my ring. I don't know if it's because I wear it, but I started wearing it because I was having joint issues right in here. They were very painful. And I don't have any joint pain in my hands or occasionally maybe in my back. But since I really started back on strict carnivore, I haven't had any episodes of anything lasting. As a matter of fact, I was having some very severe headaches. And I mean, they were severe enough. I went back to see my neurologist and they took another MRI. And so that was probably 5 months ago, which would have been early for me to go. Um, and I haven't had a headache since I started back on carnivore. I mean, probably maybe one or two at the very beginning, but I don't remember that. I don't remember
Yeah.
having a headache then. But so I haven't had those severe headaches that I was really battling with. They're gone.
Mm.
And
Oh, that's fantastic.
it was probably they were bothering me real regular for a few months, and that's why I did go back to the neurologist. But I don't have a headache.
S
I haven't had a headache.
Yeah. So when is your next MRI?
I believe it's the first part of January. In January, and
Right.
unless they change that because I had one in May, um, but um, but no, it's scheduled in January, and so I'm looking
It
forward to that.
it it'd be awesome to have you back on, after you've had that MRI just to see how things are going.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Maybe I'll have drop some more weight too. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. So, based on your experience, and I mean, you've basically got 5 years experience with carnivore.
Yes,
Um, if one of your friends came to you and said, "Look, I need to lose some weight. I need to get a bit healthier. I'm willing to give this a try. Um, I'll commit to 90 days. What should I do? What advice or what tips would you give them?"
I would say first of all, start eliminating things a little bit at a time. Like when I mean a little bit, I mean like so. Give yourself a month to say, okay, the first week of that month, I'm going to start by cutting back on my carbs. I'm going to get my carbs down to below 20. And then I'm going to drop bread or I'm going to drop whatever those carbs may be, you're going to get them below 20. And then you're going to work that into my goal date to start full on carnivore is 30 days from the day you start letting out. Otherwise, to me, you're going to go through the flu, the keto flu or the carnivore flu or whatever. But if you do it little by little, it's not like, I mean, my experience was because I pretty much stayed carnivore. um, Even when I was had veggies, some few veggies, I would maybe say it was ketovore because I really didn't go back into a lot of stuff, just an occasional item or something, but it wasn't like full-fledged, like diving back into the abyss. It was like I know that's not good for me and I might have a piece of it, but I'm not going to have the whole thing, or something. So I would say break it down to the average person probably eats a ton of carbs that they wouldn't even know. Most people eat processed foods and they don't think about all the stuff that's in that process of making that food. So is just eliminating those processed foods, eliminating the carbs, going down to 20 and then maybe 10 and then 5. I think the process of elimination works good. I remember when I did my juice thing, that's what I did. You know, I first let go of bread. That was my first thing because bread was like, it was like if you were going to love anything that meant, you know, food wise, bread was my enemy. But uh, taking it bits at a time and give yourself 30 days. Say, I'm going to start in 30 days and I'm going to cut this out this week and this out that next week. That's how I actually let go of my coffee the first time. Is it was like today I'm only going to have 2 cups. Tomorrow I'm going to have one, or next week I'll be down to one. But I drink a lot of water. I can't believe I've gone this long, but I keep my water with me all the time. I have a filter. I have a Berkey, and I just keep refilling the same bottle over and over again, and keep refilling my Berkey over and again, keeping my water clean. We live in an area that they put all kinds of chemicals in your water, thinking that it's good for you. So that my
Yeah.
recommendation. Also, to have a buddy. I have a buddy that when I told her, I said, because she is, as a matter of fact, she was my keto. She was all keto when she's the one who really helped me to get into keto. And then I told her I was going into carnivore, and then she tried carnivore. And this has been a few years back, of course. And then we were both kind of struggling back a few months, and I'm like, she goes, well, I'm going back on carnivore. I'm like, okay, I'm going back full force on carnivore too. So have a buddy. We talk to each other every Monday morning. We have a schedule, and we live far away from each other. So we get on just like you and I are. We get on video chat, and we'll sit here in my creative space, and she's very creative too. And we talk about it. We talk about our ups and our downs, and oh, what about this? Did you hear Kelly Hogan this week? Or did you hear this one? She'll send me a video. I sent her one of your videos. I'll send her videos throughout the week, and then we'll talk about them again on Monday. So a support system, I think, is really important.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Um, so and if people wanna reach out to you, do you have any social media or any way of getting in contact?
Um, I don't. I'm in Facebook. I'm Schiffered on Facebook. You know, if somebody wants to send me a message through Messenger, I've really considered and thought about doing a YouTube page, but I just haven't done it. I have all the equipment, but I haven't done it, and I do feel very encouraged by you and the others that I follow on YouTube and Facebook and other. I don't really use too many other ones, but um, that's kind of been a thing in my life, is encouraging other people. Maybe not in this area, but I always like to encourage someone, and I think you're doing a great job, and by sharing people's stories.
Oh, thank you. So I'll link to your Facebook in the show notes,
Okay.
and thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I really appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited. I'm glad I got the opportunity.